Hello friends, today we are going to discuss some environment current affairs. So the first topic under this segment is Bhoorsingh, the Barasingha, the official mascot for Kanha Tiger Reserve. So recently Kanha became the first tiger reserve in India to officially introduce a mascot whose name is Bhoorsingh, who is the Barasingha, that is the swamp deer. So to present the hard ground swamp deer as the spirit of the reserve and spread awareness to save it from possible extinction. So that's the idea behind it, and it is also a state animal of Madhya Pradesh. So as you are seeing in the image, this is a cartoon of the mascot. So Bhoorsingh, the Barasingha, and this Kanha Tiger Reserve is mainly spread in the Mandla and the Balaghat district of Madhya Pradesh, and is the only place in the world where this species exists. Okay, so the idea emerged from the work of Nagpur's award-winning cartoonist Rohan Chakrabarti, who makes cartoons and illustrations on wildlife. So he chose the Barasingha as an endemic variety of deer as the park's mascot. So Bhoor means a golden or tawny, and Singh means the antlers. Okay, and this Bhoorsingh will soon feature in more artwork, posters and merchandise for park management at Kanha. And the mascot will not only play an important role in attracting the young generation towards conservation, but will also be used to spread awareness in the form of stories and comic strips. The common conservation practices coupled with grassland management by forest department saw the population which was on the brink of extinction in the 70s to increase to more than 80 now. Okay, so this Kanha National Park, which is a tiger reserve, is situated in Madhya Pradesh, and its area is around 940 kilometers square, and it was established in 1955. So this is the factual data. And the next topic we are going to see today is the Green Corridor project. So Green Corridor basically it's a rupees 40,000 crore transmission network for renewable energy envisaged by the state powered power grid corporation in 2011. So Green Corridor will be a power grid, and it will be the first corridor connecting states rich in renewable energy. The work is also on for the second corridor connecting solar parks in Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Rajasthan and Gujarat, and the intrastate projects worth 11,000 crore rupees, and German Bank and National Clean Energy Fund will pick up 40% of the tab each, and the states will have 20%. So you must be knowing this National Clean Energy Fund. So वो जो सब सेस लगता है कोल पे, इसके ऊपर उसके ऊपर, तो वो सब क्लीन एनर्जी सेस जो है वो इस फंड में जाता है. Okay, and this project will be awarded to transparent bidding to speed up the transmission for upcoming solar parks. The move is in line with the government's plan to open up power transmission to private investment. So basically Green Corridor is about connecting the states via renewable energy where they are rich, then transmitting them. So another Green Corridor is like वो जो ऑर्गन्स जो है ट्रांसप्लांट करने होते हैं, तो पूरा ट्रैफिक वगैरह सब क्लियर किया जाता है ताकि फास्ट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन हो ऑर्गन का और ट्रांसप्लांटेशन हो जाए. तो अकॉर्डिंग टू द MCQ बेस्ड ऑन द ऑप्शंस यू टिक. So basically that was about Green Corridor. And now the third topic we are going to discuss today is the Green Highway Policy 2015. तो ये जो पॉलिसी है which is named as the Green Highways Plantation, Transplantation, Beautification and Maintenance Policy 2015. It was launched last year, and its aim is to promote greening of highway corridors with the participation of community, farmers, private sector, NGOs and government institutions. So the salient features include that the total project cost of all the highways, some part will be kept aside for highway plantation. So it is actually 1% of the total highway project cost. Rupees 1,000 crore per year will be available for this plantation purpose. Okay, and this policy will generate employment opportunities for about 5 lakh people from the rural areas. There will be a strong monitoring mechanism in place by using ISRO's Bhuvan and Gagan satellite systems. Okay, so Bhuvan is like Google Earth, and Gagan is kind of a GPS kind of system, but it's developed by ISRO and Airports Authority of India, and every planted tree will be counted and auditing will be done. The agencies performing well will be awarded. Okay, there is an incentive system. Around 1200 roadside amenities will also be established, and this green highway policy will help India be a pollution free country, and it will help in curtailing the number of road accidents in India, because you know this will act as a buffer. And the vision of this policy is to provide dignified employment to local people and the communities. Okay, so basically the idea is like we have a national forest policy, and it envisages that we must have 33% of our geographical area which should be forest or tree cover, but right now it is around 22%, and this implementation of green highway policy can help bridging this gap, so we can achieve that 33% to some extent through this. So that was about green highway policy, and now the fourth topic we are going to see today is NEERDHUR. So what is NEERDHUR? NEER is basically a institute related to environment, and it has made this thing NEERDHUR. So it's a domestic cook stove. Okay, so as you are seeing in the picture, there is a conventional chulha, and the next bazu ke side mein hai NEERDHUR, which is created by NEERI, that's CSIR NEERI. So CSIR is a council for science and research thing, and NEERI is I think it's in Nagpur. This NEERDHUR is a multi-level improved cook stove developed by this CSIR National Environment Engineering Research Institute in Nagpur, with high overall thermal efficiency, reduced fuel consumption, and reduced emission through design improvements and technological innovations. And this has been extensively tested in the lab, and basically it's a cook stove which will produce less pollution, and it has high efficiency, and it has been certified by Bureau of Indian Standards, and it shows that the thermal efficiency will be increased by 33.33%, with emission levels of carbon monoxide 3.78 gram mjt. This is not that important. The basic idea is they will say what is NEERDHUR, and there will be 4 options, and the right option will be the best cook stove. Okay, and the next topic we are going to see is WIFEX. So what is WIFEX? WIFEX is a winter fog experiment which was carried out in 2016-17, and is basically it was done by Union Ministry of Earth Sciences. It has launched this WIFEX, that is winter forest experiment, to study the presence of extended periods of fog in the northern parts of the country. So it's an intensive ground based measurement to understand different physical and chemical features of fog. Significance क्या है इसका? It aims to achieve better understanding of fog life cycle and ultimately improve capability in fog prediction. Yeah, it will help to develop better now costing. That is now costing मतलब अगले 6 घंटे में क्या होने वाला है, and forecasting of winter fog systems on various time and spatial scales. So it will develop a mechanism to reduce adverse impact of fog on aviation, हवाई जहाज, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड इकोनॉमी, एंड लॉस ऑफ ह्यूमन लाइफ ड्यू टू एक्सीडेंट्स होते हैं ना फॉग के वजह से. या इट विल लीड टू इम्प्रूव्ड अंडरस्टैंडिंग टू डेवलप रिलायबल फोरकास्टिंग मॉडल्स एंड ऑब्जर्वेशन टेक्निक्स फॉर एक्यूरेट प्रेडिक्शन ऑफ फॉग इवेंट्स. It will also help to study the physical and the chemical characteristics of the fog, meteorological factors responsible for its genesis, intensity and dissipation, which are poorly understood. Similarly, it will also add light to meteorological conditions like humidity, wind, synoptic conditions, which are not well studied. So this is basically what is going to be done under WIFEX. And why fog is important? Because fog is a visible mass consisting of cloud water droplets suspended in the air at or near the earth's surface. So like in the prelim they can give a definition, and they will ask like what is this. So you need to know what is fog, what is haze, what is mist, what is dew. So they can rotate these definitions and try to confuse you, so get well versed with it. And there is a heavy fog in India. Yeah, there is also smog, and this is impacting our road and aviation transportation and economic and public life. Yeah. सो नॉर्थ वेस्ट रीजन इंडिया का जो है वहाँ पे मैक्सिमम फॉग पाया जाता है ड्यू टू द क्लाइमेटिक एंड टोपोलॉजिकल एंड geographical conditions over there. And that's all about it. And now we'll see the next topic, that is the Kigali Agreement. Okay, so this Kigali Agreement is basically an amendment to the Montreal Protocol. Okay, so Kigali is basically a place in a small country called Rwanda, and a summit was held there on 15th October 2016. Okay, so an agreement was reached which expected to reduce the manufacture and use of HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, by roughly 80 to 85% of their respective baselines till 2045. Okay. So this is basically because HFC is a greenhouse gas, and phasing down this will arrest the global average temperature rise to 0.5 degrees Celsius by 2100. So we will avoid increase in our temperature by 0.5 degrees Celsius by this agreement if implemented in letter and spirit. And so we need to know everything, right? What was Montreal Protocol? So Montreal Protocol was something which happened in 1989, and is the most effective international environmental treaty to phase out the ozone depleting substances from the atmosphere. So 197 member parties are parties to this protocol, and it became the first international treaty with complete ratification. Okay, and as we are seeing that it had successfully curbed 98% production of our CFCs and other ozone depleting substances. So it's like CFCs are something which deplete our ozone layer. So कैसे होता है ना कि ये CFCs जो है इसमें क्लोरीन रहता है, तो एनीथिंग कंटेनिंग क्लोरीन इज हार्मफुल फॉर आवर ओजोन लेयर. ठीक है. सो initially our air conditioners and our refrigerators were based on CFCs, but later on due to this ozone depletion, what happened was a Montreal Protocol was in place, and we decided to phase out CFCs and we moved towards HFCs. So HFCs are hydrofluorocarbons, as you are seeing. These are organic compounds which contain hydrogen, carbon and fluorine, and they are commonly used as substitutes for CFCs. What was the thing is that although HFCs don't contain chlorine, so they are not harmful to our ozone layer, but they have a global warming potential which is very much 1,000 times higher than our normal carbon dioxide and methane. So you can understand how much catastrophic consequences it will have on our global warming. So although not an ozone depleting substance, but it was responsible for global warming and greenhouse effect, as a result of which now at Kigali we have decided that we will even phase out HFC and find an alternative. So what was basically done at Kigali is that a legally binding agreement was signed between these parties with non-compliance measures. So like in prelims, they asked whether this agreement is legally binding or not. Okay, so you need to remember that this is a legally binding agreement, and it will come into effect from 1st Jan 2019, and it's provided it is ratified by at least 20 member parties by then. Okay, and it has shown a considerable flexibility in approach while setting phased out targets for different economies. जैसे कि there are developed countries, there are developing countries. Developed countries have a technology, while developing countries may not have developed that technology, and there is a growth which is needed in developing countries. So we have different parameters. So the developed countries should first take up the baton for phasing out, and later the developing countries. So that way flexibility has been shown in this agreement, and it has been divided the three groups. The first group will consist of these rich and developed economies like USA, UK and EU countries who will phase down these HFCs by 2019 and reduce it to 15% of the 2012 levels by 2036. Okay, so the key things you need to remember here is 2019 when they will start phasing down it, and by 2036 they will reduce it to 15% of the 2012 levels. Okay, now the second group is the one which consists of emerging economies like China, Brazil and some African countries who will phase down by 2024. Okay, so they will start their phasing down by 2024, and they will reduce it to 20% of their 2021 levels by 2045. So this is kind of trivial, but they might just ask it. So the key thing you have to remember is they will start by 2024 and reduce to 20% of 2021 level by 2045. Okay, so the third group here consists of developing countries and some of the hottest climatic countries like India, Pakistan, Iran, Saudi, who will start phasing down HFCs by 2028, and it will reduce to 15% of 2024 by 2026 levels till 2047. So this is more important because this group contains India, and as we are seeing that 2028 से चालू करेगा phasing down, and it will reduce 15% of 2024-2026 levels by 2047. So 2047 is one which could be remembered, like in 1947 we got independence. So 100 years down the line we are going to phase down 15% of the 2024-26 levels of HFCs. Okay, so what else, like this agreement has a provision for multilateral fund which will help the developing countries for adaptation and mitigation. Then there will be a technology and energy assessment panel which will take a periodic review of the alternative technologies and the products for their energy efficiency and safety standards. Okay, so what's significant about Kigali Agreement is that it strengthens the Paris Agreement, which has set an ambitious target of restricting the rise in the global temperature 2 degree Celsius. तो 0.5 degree Celsius किगाली से ही हो जाएगा. Okay, so as compared पेरिस में ऐसा एग्री हुआ था कि हम लोग 2% तक ही सीमित रखेंगे टेम्परेचर राइज को, जो प्री इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल से है. तो unlike this Paris Agreement, it gives a clear and concrete mandatory targets. Like Paris Agreement is kind of it's not very much like स्पष्ट नहीं है वो कि कब होगा कैसे होगा, but Kigali is right down. It talks about business, that this and this. Okay, and it will prevent this Kigali Agreement will prevent the emission of HFCs equivalent to 70 billion tons of CO2. So देखो 70 बिलियन टन ऑफ CO2 उतना रुक जाएगा अगर हम लोग एमिशन HFCs का फेज डाउन करेंगे. And what we need to consider as far as India is concerned, as India has played a very flexible and cooperative role in this whole negotiating process, and it had agreed on lenient schedule as it consumes only 30% of the HFCs. Okay, so this is also factual data which could be used in the mains, like why we are given a late target. Like we just use 3% of the HFCs, right? Okay, of the total world, while USA and China, US uses 37% of the entire world and China uses 25%. So like it will be tough for India to adhere to this agreement along with the Paris Pact, especially when we have our growth concerns, we have our ambitious Make in India program to increase this industrial production. So it should also take into consideration the hot climatic conditions and the growing demand for air conditioners, refrigerators and cars with the growing middle class while implementing the program. Okay, so that's the concern as far as India is concerned. And although being a responsible nation, Indian government has voluntarily passed an order to stop the production of HFC 23 which is a byproduct of commonly used refrigerant. So this will reduce the emission by 100 million tons equivalent of CO2 in the next 15 years. Okay. And what will be the implications? That there will be financial implications, there will be technological implications. And on the positive side, this will incentivize business and scientific fraternity to invest their financial and intellectual resource in finding out more economic and environmental friendly technological alternatives. But then what next? Like CFCs we phased out, we had HFCs, now we are phasing out HFCs. So what next? So the answer is HFO refrigerant. So what are HFO? HFO stands for hydrofluoroolefin. Okay, olefin. And HFC refrigerants are composed of hydrogen, fluorine and carbon connected by a single bond between the atoms. Okay, but HFO refrigerants are composed of the same thing like hydrogen, fluorine and carbon atom, but they contain double bond between the carbon atoms. Like in HFCs we had a single bond, but in carbon atoms we will have a double bond. So if you know the covalent bond thing, then you will be in a better position to understand this thing. In chemistry we had down the line in 12th standard. So HFO 1, 2, 3, 4 YF has this physical property similar to HFC 134A. So therefore HFO 1, 2, 3, 4 YF has this potential to be used in place of HFC, and the main characteristics include that it has a low toxicity, it has a low green warming potential. Its green warming potential is 4, which is very much low. Like in HFC it was 1000 times more than CO2, so it was 1000 kind of. And this HFO will have a 0 ozone depletion potential and low total contribution to climate change, and the same operating pressures as HFC system. So it can be used in same conditions. The next topic we are going to see today is Biota. So what is Biota? It's basically an app, and it is developed by Indian Institute of Information Technology and Management, Kerala. So they have launched this mobile app to track and gather data on distribution of flora and fauna. It is aimed to help research scholars and scientists in the field of conservation and research. So biodiversity app Biota, as you are seeing, it was developed by CV Raman Laboratory of Ecological Informatics at IITMK. Okay. And this has been set up for higher education and research in the area of IT, and the version of this app was also launched by National Biodiversity Conference. Okay, so Biota is basically an app that you need to remember. The 8th topic we are going to see today is Grassoline. So what is Grassoline? So Grassoline, it's a sustainable energy resource and biofuel derived from grass that could power aircraft. So basically grass से हम लोग biofuel बना रहे हैं. It is pre-treated to improve its biodegradability, and then bacteria are added which convert the sugars in the grass into lactic acid, and this lactic acid can serve as an intermediate chemical to produce other compounds such as biodegradable plastics or fuels. And this lactic acid is then converted into caproic acid. This is really not important, but just know it that this caproic acid will be further converted into decane, which can be used in aviation fuel. Okay, so Grassoline is basically a biofuel, you need to remember, and it will be used in aviation sector. The 9th topic today we are going to see is CARBFIX project. So what's this CARBFIX project? Okay, so it was in news recently, and the reports show that this project is able to solidify 95% of the injected 25% tons of CO2 into calcite in 2 years. Okay, using 25 tons of water per ton of CO2. तो ये जो महिला जो थी जो हाथ में कार्बन लेके खड़ी थी, so it was basically a CO2 which was converted into a stone like thing, which is CARBFIX project. Okay, and they say that they will convert it into calcite in 2 years, and they will require 25 tons of water per ton of CO2. Okay, and what is this project? Basically, it's a project in Iceland, and it aims to lock away CO2 by reacting it with basaltic rocks. So carbonated water is injected into the rock so that it reacts with calcium, magnesium, and silicate material present in the basaltic rocks, and this is called as enhanced weathering. Thus, the CO2 is captured permanently without releasing any harmful byproducts. The 10th topic and the last topic which we are going to see today is climate smart agriculture. So basically, this is related to food association organization like FAO, which has its headquarters in Paris. Sorry, I don't really remember. Just check out. It's in Rome, I guess, in Italy. Yeah, it's in Rome. So this was defined by FAO at the 2010 Hague Conference on Agriculture, Food Security and Climate Change, and it's composed of 3 pillars. Okay, so climate smart agriculture consists of 3 main pillars. The first is sustainably increasing agricultural productivity and incomes. Then second is adapting and building resilience to climate change, and third is reducing and removing greenhouse gases emissions where possible. So first is agriculture productivity और इनकम बढ़ाना है, दूसरा है क्लाइमेट चेंज के साथ फाइट करना है, और तीसरा है रिमूविंग दिस ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस emissions. So basically it was in news because a 3-day annual forum of Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture was organized at Rome by FAO. And climate smart agriculture is an integrative approach, like we have seen these 3 pillars behind, and it addresses these interlinked challenges of food security and climate change. So everything is interlinked, like food security and climate change are really interlinked. अगर climate change की वजह से catastrophic consequences होते हैं तो agriculture productivity में उसका एक दूरगामी परिणाम होता है. तो we need to see this in a holistic integrative approach, and the factual point is it's supported by FAO. So this was all about environment, the 10 topics we discussed today. So this is basically what I think could be just asked, because right now forest वाले भी civil service के साथ exams देते हैं, तो प्रीलिम हमारी एक होती है. सो देर इज़ अ मोर वेटेज टू एनवायरमेंट, एंड दैट्स वाई इट बिकम्स इम्पॉर्टेंट, एंड आई होप यू लाइक्ड इट. एनीथिंग एल्स यू वांट मी टू मेक अ वीडियो ऑन, प्लीज़ लेट मी नो द टॉपिक्स, and please give your valuable feedback. So your feedback really helps, and it gives me an encouragement to make more and more. Thank you very much.